everybody. I'd like to open the meeting at 9:01, and just to let you know that we have Councillor Burkett on the phone. Is that right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well, we'll get started. Confirmation of the minutes for the ordinary meeting of April the 10th, 2024. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 10th of April 2024 be confirmed.
Seconder. Councillor Brompton. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 8.1, Surat Tennis Court repeal. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council repeal resolution number GM/02.2019.82 and replace with 1. Council take over the management of the Surat Tennis Courts and Clubhouse. 2. Allow the community to continue to use the courts free of charge. 3. Lock the courts with key access available to the public from Council for a 12-month trial basis. 4. Review usage following trial and add the facility to Council's fees and charges if warranted. 5. Restrict access to the clubhouse with keys available to the Council's Surat Administration Office when required for use.
Have a seconder?
Got a question when you're going to say
Oh, one second. Councillor Vincent, you have a question?
that. I do, through the chair. Just the practicalities of accessing that over a weekend is a bit of a concern. So I just want to understand what we would have in place there, or is the intent that the community, if they wanted to use it over the weekend, would have to get it on a Friday afternoon to return it on Monday?
Yeah, through the chair, councillor. I think at this stage we want the user group. Well, we'd like to have the tennis subgroup from SCDA manage the facility over the long term, so under an MOU, and we try to get them to issue that key over the weekend.
A follow-up question.
Yeah, sorry.
This is a suggestion. Well, first, a question: does this need to be done today?
Well, we're getting close to. There's quite a lot of activity at the tennis courts now. They're quite active, so I think the short answer is we could probably delay this if you want to put it on the table, but you know.
Because I just wonder, is it, instead of having it at the council, could we not look at one of those little key lock things at the site where we give the individual that wants to use it the code, they get the key out, unlock it, and that goes back into that lock so that those that want to be active over the weekend and play tennis can do that? Because if we go down this path and it's locked, they'll have to, have that organised on a Friday afternoon to be able to do it.
Correct.
It's the same with, our community billboards that you've got to come to the council, you've got to get the key, you've got to put your thing in, then you've got to bring the key back. I mean, nobody puts anything in there because it's just too hard.
Too hard, yeah.
Yeah. Councillor Hancock.
So I agree with Councillor O'Neill. I do have a concern about the fact that our community who decides on a Saturday afternoon to go in and have a hit of tennis can't do that. And previous times when the tennis club was running, there was a key left at a local business that was opened on the weekend, so the community could access it, and they had to, write down who gets the key and all that sort of stuff. That is an option. I don't mind I think the key lock situation would be good. We just need to work through the practicalities of being able to get to the code of that person. You might have to there might be 2 phone numbers there. It might be a community member who'd be happy to be able to take those and give out a code. But I too would like to investigate being able to have it open on weekends.
So did you just amend your resolution to defer this for a fortnight to come back with some solutions out to allow it to be secure but still access it over the weekend?
Yeah, realistically, we just need to lock it up because, the kids are putting push bikes and that on it, and so we need to be able to do that. And I get that. And it used to always be locked. It always used to be locked up, but the key was accessible from, 7 days a week, basically. So, yeah, I move to defer this to the next ordinary meeting.
Can I just ask, though, if you've got a lock, you know, like, and a code, does the code change all the time, or is it just the one code?
You can change it.
Okay.
Well, that was my question about that, because it's not very hard that code gets known and then
Yeah,
you're back
yeah.
to the situation. Because if it's one of those ones where you just turn the wheel,
Yeah.
it's not that easy to be regularly changing the code. And I can see that you then get the issues, well, someone writes it on there or it gets posted somewhere and then you've got no security again. That's the only issue with that.
Still the steps for the kids to go and get to unlock it to then take their bikes in. That's what you're trying to stop. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah. Councillor Davis?
Is there an opportunity to trial the resolution as it stands? To see if it is even an issue in the community of Surat about not being able to get it on a Saturday for a hit on Sunday?
Well, what about a shorter trial?
My preference is to defer it because I actually
Okay.
think it will be an issue.
All right. Councillor Vincent?
I was just going to ask how far off the memorandum of understanding is with the Surat community to take over the management of the tennis court. Is that a long-term thing, or is that something that's very close to occurring?
Yeah, through the chair, I think in the short term we should be able to achieve that. They've got the MOU and they're going through it, and we're well advanced in talks. Can I make a suggestion also, just to add on? We do have the library as well that's open on Saturdays, and we do have Cobb and Co that's open on Sunday. So a key could be left there as well.
Through you, Chair, there's probably a couple. I'm sort of sensing that everyone's in agreement that this weekend access is critical here. Like, if you want to keep this one moving, I've got no issue, you can defer it or not, but there could be a way of just providing officers a direction to ensure access can be provided over the weekend, and we come up with the solution. It just depends on whether council wants to get right into the detail of the weekend solution, or whether you would prefer, if we got the direction that we want it, you need to implement a system that allows weekend access. Officers can keep this one moving for you without deferring it. And
Especially Cobb and Co Museum.
well, I'll move we lay this on the table to later in the meeting to come up with an appropriate resolution.
yeah, just an extra dot point around weekend access. Yep.
All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8.2, elected members PAYG/eligible local governing body. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'm happy to move. Just I've got a question to start with through the chair. To D, the resolution that I moved last time, it was to be considered for us council to be considered as eligible local governing body. Does that not have to be in the resolution?
This
I
is
get the next bit.
This about the date, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is it's amending the resolution.
I see.
Through the chair, Councillor O'Neill, we contact a taxation specialist who acts on behalf of council, and the resolution that we've put in here is the resolution that was adopted by Newcastle City Council. So it's a standard resolution in this case. So we needed the effective date in there, which was the hold up on the last resolution.
But we don't need to use the words eligible local governing body. No.
No.
Okay, righto.
Happy to move?
Yeah, I'll move the council amend resolution number OM 04202421 to read as follows: that mayor and councillor fees be subject to income tax withholding under Part 2 to 5 of the Taxation Administration Act 1953, sections 446 to 5 of Schedule 1, with effect from the 26th of April 2024.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brompton. Anyone? Would you like to speak?
No.
Anyone like to speak? Going to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Thank you.
Thanks, Dee.
11.1, setting of meeting dates, May 2024 to December 2024. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the council 1, adopt the ordinary meeting schedule as proposed. 2, hold all ordinary meetings and briefings at Council's Roma Administration Centre. 3, commence all ordinary meetings at 9 a.m. subject to agreed change by council. 4, hold councillor briefings, including agenda familiarisation segment, on the day prior to each ordinary meeting, noting that after May, this will generally be the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, commencing at 9:30 a.m, subject to agreed change by council. 5, hold councillor briefings on the first and third Wednesday of each month when required, commencing at 9:30 a.m, subject to agreed change by council. And 6, at an upcoming briefing, further discuss transitioning one of the briefing days to a planned schedule of community engagement activities across the region to commence after adoption of the 2024-25 budget.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Davis?
I have a question.
Councillor Hancock?
Just wanting to make sure that this resolution is in line with the dates where we were going to move our meetings in May, which was to the 24th of May.
This is noting after May.
It says setting of meeting dates May 2024 to December 2024.
Noting that after May.
And then in
Noting
number
that after
4,
May, this would generally be on the second and fourth Tuesday.
Righto, are you happy that that is what it says? Okay.
well, yeah.
Um,
Are you happy with that's what it says?
So that's talking about councillor briefings. Noting, hold councillor briefings, including agenda familiarisation segment on the day prior to ordinary meeting, noting that after May this will generally be.
Well, then number 3.
Commence all meetings, agreed. Hold all meetings, council. Perfect. Thanks, Cal. That's that. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we were not having to repeal this motion at a later date. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak? Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy to speak.
Yep.
I'm happy to support this. I think the best course of action for the general meetings of council, given the trial that had occurred over the last term of council, is that the ordinary meetings be held in Roma. But I am, strongly of the view, strongly hold the view, and it'll be subject to further discussions with the rest of council, that, and note point 6 addresses this, that we will look at a schedule of community engagement that is just that. It is proper community engagement where it is all councillors interacting with our community at advertised places on agreed days, and it is a true opportunity for a dialogue backwards and forwards with our community. I don't believe that holding the ordinary meetings of council in the outlying towns of the Maranoa addresses that desire of many of us here, that we've already had a discussion in some of the early workshops of this term of council, that there is very much a strong desire to have proper community engagement, and I think we can come up with a model that will work for the community and work for council to do that, and so I'm happy to move this resolution.
Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Vincent?
Yeah, I fully support this motion today, as it sets a tone for our commitment as a council to work together and to ensure that we're fully informed through briefings. I also look forward to the further discussion after the budget to go out to our communities for more authentic consultation opportunities if this motion gets up today.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Hancock?
Yes, I support this resolution as well, as from not only my experience of the last term of council, which we took these meetings out to our communities. It has actually been from community feedback as well that I make my decision today that all ordinary meetings should be held at the Roma Administration Centre. For me, and with the community feedback, is the cost to council to be able to take these meetings out to the regions outweighs the benefit to the community members that have come. We probably had at the most 10 at one of the meetings. Sometimes it was down to 5 community members that would turn up, and they didn't have the opportunity to engage with us when they were there. So I agree with Councillor O'Neill. I think that we hold our ordinary meetings here where it saves the cost to council, and we value add to our communities by going out to them and having meetings where we can actually have conversation and engage from them and hear from them rather than them sitting there just hearing from us. So I fully agree with this, and I think it's a great way forward for the future of this term of council.
Councillor Davis.
I also support this motion for every reason that every other councillor has listed, also having regard for staff time and effort that goes into holding those meetings remotely. I feel we have the technology and ability to deliver here as a business unit.
Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Prompton.
I think the other point, and I do agree with all the points raised so far, is that I received feedback from community members that when it was held at other locations, it's very hard to hear on the tape as well. So I think the technology here is a lot better in terms of people who want to access the council meetings electronically. And then, of course, as everyone has said, when we're out there in the communities, we can actually spend the time actually engaging fully with them at those meetings.
Anybody else like to speak? Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Moving on to 11.2. Election of Local Government Association Queensland LGAQ Policy Executive District Representatives 2024 to 2028. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 receive the letter as presented and attached to the officer's report. 2, nominate Councillor Cameron O'Neill for the LGAQ Policy Executive term 2024 to 2028, District number 505.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Davis, would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you. Madam Mayor, thank you. I'm putting up Councillor O'Neill for the LGAQ Policy Executive because of a couple of reasons. One of them, I think that the Maranoa is the biggest community within the group of councils within District 5, and I think why wouldn't we back one of our own to be at that table? I backed last time and I want to back again this time because we have the knowledge and experience to be able to add value to this policy executive position. And Councillor O'Neill, being Deputy Mayor of Maranoa Region, I believe he has the time, the experience and the passion to be able to go and represent not only us but the whole district of number 5, and to be able to provide that feedback right across those councils regarding the LGAQ policy executive term. I actually think that he is the right person for the job to go and represent the Maranoa and District 5.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? I'll speak. I too agree with everything you've said, Councillor Hancock. We didn't nominate anybody last time from the Maranoa. It went to Ballon, I think, yeah, to Robin, yes. And honestly, I don't know that we heard anything, any feedback at all in the last 4 years. I don't know whose fault that was, but I really do believe that we are in a prime position, and especially with Councillor O'Neill being the deputy. It's only 6 times a year, I think, that they meet, so happy for us to be in the room, as we were last night, in the room, having our say. So fully support this, and I hope everybody else would support it also. Does anyone like to speak against? Anybody for?
Can I sum up?
Would you like to sum up?
I just want to add that we've been fairly strong with this term of council about relationship building, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to continue that tone, is to actually build relationships with the other councils that are on the district, the district number 5, build relationships with them, and then going forward and building relationships outside of our organisation. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to continue with rebuilding those relationships.
Anybody else like to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Page 47. 11.3, 2023-24 Quarter 3 Progress Report, Operational Plan to the 31st of March 2024. I think we've all got that on the big sheet. Are we allowed to sort of open up for discussion before we move? Yeah. Okay, so we might do that if everybody would like. I'm sure they've got questions. So we might see Councillor Brumpton, would you like to start with the executive?
Yeah, thank you. I've probably got quite a few questions, but so I'll just might generalise a couple of them.
If you could just tell us where you are.
Oh, okay. If we start on page 1, the second line about the greater than 50% of procurement is local buy, we're saying we're on schedule on track, but where local spend is at 37.09%. So I suppose some of my questions are generalised around that. Along a lot of this report, we're saying we're on schedule on time and that we're at 75%, but actually the information that's contained in the document doesn't actually reflect that we're on schedule and on track.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor. Really appreciate it. Through the chair, just want to introduce Grace Povar. She's assists with regards to helping to coordinate some of this information for us.
Sorry, I didn't hear the name.
Grace Povar.
Grace. Hello, Grace.
And what we do is we coordinate this with the rest of the organisation, and our function is to ask them the question around where they're at and what they're doing. Some of our questions we try to review.
You might want to just, I won't be capturing.
Sorry.
Or John may not hear.
Apologies, Councillor. Thanks. Some of these questions we might have to take on notice and come back to you. With regards to such items as the procurement, yeah, we have a benchmark there of, I think it's around about, I think we're trying to shoot for 50%, if we can do that. Yes, and I agree with you, but sometimes to actually, if it's on schedule and on track, sometimes we're referring to the budget as to whether it's on track from a budgeting perspective and whether it's on schedule around whether it's actually being operationalised. So for us, it's not, sometimes we're trying to fit a round circle into a square peg. So I think on this occasion, my only response is we're shooting for 50%. We're not quite there, but for us to have basically a standardised way of answering it as quick as we can, given the size of the operation report, it probably doesn't suit the response we're giving you is probably not suiting the actual question that's coming through in the operational plan. So you are right, we're not there, but yeah, from achieving 50%.
I'm just wondering, in general,
Yes.
Around this, for those
Yes.
ones that are a bit harder to capture like that, would
Yes.
it be better to have an arrow up, arrow down, equal, or something
We
like
can,
that?
yep.
Which would make it easier for councillors and the general public, because this is published, to see
Yep.
where we're tracking.
Yes.
I don't want to cause something that would be so difficult
No,
to
you're
actually
asking a legitimate
operationalise.
question
It would
there.
be a lot of administrative
Yeah.
costs, but I was finding that a lot of it was meaningless in terms of those last 3 columns because they weren't relating to what was actually contained in the Quarter 3 update wording.
We can change this according to if there's a better way for council to review and have a quicker way. We tried to implement these particular columns simply because, just from my past experience, we've gone down that track. But we can talk about it from a green arrow, red minus, whichever way to make it easier for.
It could be part of next year's when we're doing our budget workups rather than trying to change something where we're nearly at the end of financial year.
Yeah. With the operational plan, we can work on that reasonably quickly. I think that's something we can turn around reasonably
That's
quickly
only
for
my
councils.
suggestion. That was only I'm only one of 9, so.
Yeah, and through the chair, we've got a great opportunity coming up. Obviously, we're coming to the end of this financial year. Great opportunity. This is good feedback and something that we can look at as part of the 24-25 thing there. So, Chair, thank you.
Anything else, Councillor?
Oh,
You can go.
Just by way of background for councillors, just to try and help put some of this into perspective, we developed our corporate plan, which was adopted on, I think it was the 28th of June in 2023. As part of that process, you will find that a lot of these particular settings were set as part of that corporate plan. There's a few things in here that are additional to the corporate plan, and that's how we're trying to make sure that there's a relationship between the operational plan and the corporate plan as well.
So can I I'll just use one.
Sorry.
So second page,
Yeah.
The third line, which was the cattle throughput increased, for example, and marketing strategy results in increased sales. It says you've completed 100%, but the Q3 update says marketing operational budget under review for 2024-25. So how does that relate to our success measure, and how are we measuring whether the marketing strategy has resulted in increased sales and whether our cattle throughput has increased?
Might ask the General Manager of the sale yards who might have a response to that. Yeah, I've got it here.
Morning, councillors.
Morning, Daniel.
Thank you for the question. So for those who I haven't formally introduced myself, my name's Daniel Haslop. So the cattle throughput increase, so we've got a market strategy in place. It's resulted in overall increased sales. So what we've done is we've also done an operational consideration for the 24-25 budget to implement the strategy essentially. So we'll be putting forward what we've done in that strategy for consideration to council for next year's budget.
So in terms of the reporting, it would be good to see in the Q3 update, cattle throughput has increased by 2%, 22%, whatever.
Yep.
Because that's how I would read an update of how our success is being.
And I'm more than happy to include that detail in future updates.
And once again, the last three columns really don't mean anything at all, do they?
No, they're not related to what you've reported.
Yeah.
How is 100% completed relate to what's been reported? Yeah.
So in my eyes, the 100% was to do the marketing strategy, have that in place. So that was the 100% reflective of that. But I take that note on for future reference.
Yeah. All right. Look, there's quite a few, but rather than take up the time, it's just the general.
I'm happy to take on, if you wish to sit down and run through things, I can help coordinate responses if you like after that, if that suits.
Yeah, that's fine. It'd be something I'll coordinate Eric and that. So yep.
Yeah. Questions? Anybody else got questions?
My question was something similar, not on the sale yards, but if you look at a line item a couple down from where Councillor Brupta was talking, industry collaboration, one symposium per annum on industry diversification, collaborating with industry advocates such as TSBE and Outback Tourism. It just says it's on schedule, completed 100%, but there is no detail as to what that is. But I have no idea what that is.
Through the chair, I think generally if something was on schedule, on track, we were told an update wasn't really necessary unless we were behind. So
yeah, okay.
But for future, yes, we can add extra detail.
Maybe we just need to have a bit of a look on how it's reported. As we're saying, looking at percentages of if it's up 2% or whatever that looks like in the future. But
because that one, for example, one symposium, well, I'd like to see in the update that the symposium has been held and it was whatever. If it says 100%, how did we actually achieve that success measure?
Yeah.
So maybe what this is highlighting to me let's, as we get to the next 12 months, it come back via this document comes back via a briefing, so we can have a look at what is fit for purpose for reporting for this term account.
What people are looking for in the report. as in councillors, yeah.
Because sometimes I think it's an update, sometimes I think it's a project. So when it's easy to go, we've done that marketing strategy, completed 100%, and that's that strategy. But sometimes when it's just, yes, I think it's just the terminology that we're using that's confusing.
That's right. Has anybody got any questions? Councillor Burkett, do you have any questions?
No, I'm all good, thanks.
Yeah. Councillor Vincent, are you right?
Yeah, just a quick question on, say, page 1 of annual services with the mowing. It's on track and within budget. So the extra use of all the contractors, that hasn't affected the budget at all?
Sorry, what page are you on?
Oh, well, it's page 1, but it's a fair way through.
Yeah, page 1.
Oh, yeah.
Page
Keep
1
going.
Right at the end.
The end, the one that's stapled on the right-hand side.
Sorry, which one are you referring to, councillor? You're talking about Roma?
Well, it's across, Bendemeer is the only one that's mentioned the use of contract resources, but it's obvious to the public and that contractors are being used in the other areas as well, and all the budget, like, it's on track and within budget. So the extra use of those contractors haven't affected the budget at all?
Mayor, if you don't mind.
please.
Thank you, councillor. I haven't met all of you yet, so congratulations on your appointments. Dean Ellis, my name. I'm the director for Roma. I know, and that'll be potentially a conversation later today in the budget component. I know for Roma that we did bring on some contractors for the last quarter. At the time of preparing this, the budget update, we didn't see necessarily a disparage there, but certainly what you'll note today in the budget review component is that Roma budget is tracking about potentially up to 5% overspent, and one of the impacts of that is because we brought on some contract mowing during that period of grass was growing quicker than we could see it type thing. So So to your question fundamentally, yes, from Roma's point of view, the mowing has been impacted, or the budget has been impacted by bringing on contract mowers. It's just the time in relation to when we prep this for the budget. Again, from a Roma budget point of view, we've been on track and on budget, and it was just when the financials got updated in the last couple of weeks that some of those extra bills, including the mowing stuff, has come in, and that's what skewed the numbers. So.
Thank you.
You right? Yep. Thanks, Steph. Does anybody have any other questions? I think the idea would be to take this to a briefing somewhere along the line. Yeah, for the next quarter, or whatever that looks like. Okay, so do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the council receive and note the contents of the 2023-24 quarter 3 report. To endorse the quarter 3 report as presented in accordance with section 104(7) of the Local Government Act 2009. 3, publish the quarter 3 report on council's website accordingly.
I have a seconder, Councillor Vincent. Does anybody want to speak?
I've just got a question.
Yes.
Should we be be tabled at a briefing or something in this resolution?
We can basically just ask for a briefing on it.
Well, I suppose
Unless you wanna
we
put
can. I mean, we've got next week or the 8th, we've got that workshop that includes what do councillors want for future briefings, topics we can include it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, okay. All right, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Hang on.
Sorry,
I'd
John.
like to speak for.
Yeah, sorry.
I'd just like to thank the staff for a very thorough report and all the time and effort they put in to all the directors, all the local directors as well. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, going to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 11.4 monthly financial report as of the 29th of February 2024. Do I have a mover? Page 50, Jane.
I know I've got that, thank you.
Sorry, councillor. Vincent. Did anybody have any questions?
Probably, just got one quickly. Madam Mayor, just there's obviously a backlog of financial reports, so you've got February and March today, so it's just probably work that out, but there's some figures here that you might have questions in February, they might have corrected in March, or so, yeah, I'm just sort of flagging that, that there, so that's sort of the history of that one.
I think in terms of the fact we've got a March one, I'm happy to move the February one if
Yep.
it's, yeah.
Yep.
I move that council receive and note the monthly financial report for the period ending 29th of February 2024.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Seawright. Anyone like to speak? Going to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. $11.5 monthly financial report as of the 31st of March 2024. Do we have any questions?
I do.
After you, councillor Hancock.
Through you, Mayor. Just, can you explain the operating revenue, and it has been mentioned here about the FAGs grant. Can you just explain to me how that will affect? It says in the year in which it is distributed, but account. There was a comment over here saying that might be overstated. Can you just explain to me what the paragraph about the FAGs grant means and how that might play? That's it,
Yeah.
that's it, that's the line. It says, if council does not receive an advance for 24-25 financial assistance grants, the current budget revenue will be overstated by $14.026 million.
Sorry, through the chair, the FAGs grant is, the funding is contingent on when the federal government pays council. We have no say on when that's paid. In the previous year, there was a 95% of the 23-24 year was actually paid in 22-23. Because of accounting standards, we have to recognise that as revenue when it's received. With the budget process, we've budgeted on the presumption that we're also going to receive a forward payment for the 24-25 year in the 23-24 year, but we have no. It's just a warning there, because there's no guarantee that we will receive a forward payment, because it all depends on when the federal government releases the funds.
So we're already in the negative. The actuals now, we're in the negative by 4.335 million.
Yeah.
So we've already spent the FAGs grant that we were pre-given, and so if we don't, so even if we get that FAGs grant now for next year, we're going to essentially have to use that to make up the negative of the $4 million that we're already behind.
Councillor, thank you very much for that question. Yes, you are right there. We highlight it to council at all quarterly reviews and monthly reviews simply because we do want to highlight it as a risk. We do not have a say about it. It is a federally driven grant that goes to the states, and then the states I suppose they rationalise how their process is around how that is then distributed through to the councils. So when I talk to the states, our contact there, I was talking to our contact as late as yesterday. His advice to me is that when we budget for it to be flat. However, he has no understanding around any certificate or any confidence around those numbers, simply because it won't even be understood until around about, he expects it to be around about July. So all I'm saying to you is we have to have an estimate as to what we think it is, and we talk closely to the state, but we're both in a bit of a conundrum where there is an unknown there, and we just want to flag it to council as a risk that if we don't receive those funds, then that will have a material impact on our result for end of year.
That's right, to the point of $14 million.
It could be up to $14.026 million. They might pay us 5 million or 10 million. I honestly don't know, but we're just going off the guidance that we've received from the state.
And this is by no means, you guys are doing your job. So
Yep,
this is about us being able to get our head around, and this is, you will know, I'll bring up this every year because I've always firmly believed that we're using next year's FAG's money to balance our budget over the last 4 years. I believe that's what we've done. That's not a reflection on our staff. You guys are doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. My concern is that we are using that money and so therefore we're not really telling the truth to our community. And so therefore, when we get that FAG's money, if we do, I understand that we do need to bring it into that year, but if we actually want to be honest about how our budget ended up, can we set aside that FAG's money to be able to be spent in the next year? Can we have it as a separate line item, or do you understand what I'm asking you? Basically what I'm saying is this is how this budget has ended up because that FAG's money is actually meant to be for next year, and that's a line item of that.
Yeah. Talking about a note on the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it?
We could strip it out as a separate line item from budgeting and in our monthly accounts to identify how much we have received and if that's going to assist in helping to manage that or to understand it.
So, Dee, can I ask a question? So the operating revenue of 109,876, that includes the 14. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No, that's not what you're saying.
No, it doesn't at the moment.
It doesn't at the moment.
No, because we've only received a small portion of that at the moment. So, but the budget amount includes the 14, the extra 14.
When do you think we might get? When do we normally receive the final amount for FAGs?
In June.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Vincent, sorry.
So my question, and you might happy for it to be taken on notice, just wanting to get the detail behind the cash that we do have. What does it actually consist of? Depreciation, staff costings, grants that is restricted. So that I'm really interested to see what the cash reserves actually, the detail behind it.
Yeah. Through the chair, there we can prepare internally restricted and externally restricted cash, and then it leaves the balance. So with externally restricted cash, it's items that are included in contract liabilities, external funding for grants money that hasn't been spent yet, unspent loans, developers' contributions that haven't been spent yet. Internally restricted cash is money that is set aside internally for specific areas within council.
So are we able to get the figures behind, down the track, the figures of those?
Yes.
Yeah, through Chair, I definitely think this would be, obviously we talked about budget in detail yesterday and it's something that more than happy we could have a specific session on cash at bank and that sort of stuff where Dee and Eric can give us a bit of a hand to understand exactly what Dee just said around the constraint, but understand the question there. Just want some more detail around the cash at bank position. Yep.
Thank you.
And maybe we can make all these things come out in our briefings with budget.
Yeah.
Exactly how we want it presented, so we know what's there and what's not there, and go from there. So, yeah. Have I got someone to move this year? Oh, no, Kel? No. Can somebody move for me, please? the monthly financial report as of the 31st of March 2024. Councillor Vincent.
I move that council receive and note the monthly financial report for the period ended 31st of March 2024.
Seconder. Councillor Hancock. Anyone like to speak?
I've just got a question.
Mhm.
And it might be your question you were going to ask too, Mayor. And I know the manager for airports isn't here, so it might be Director Dean. But the depreciation for airports was, the original budget was 877,000, round figures. Year-to-date budget is 657,000. Year-to-date actuals. Can someone just talk me through those changes in numbers for depreciation?
Madam Mayor, can I just ask a question? I felt comfortable staying in the room for these reports which related to the airport. I'm not totally sure that I should be in the room when questions are being asked.
I suppose in that instance, like, we just have to work out whether there's a concern with the conflict and that.
I won't be able to write anything at the moment, but I will declare a conflict of interest and leave the room while this discussion takes place.
It's a bit more formal than that now.
Yeah,
Councillor Flynn.
yeah.
But we can do it. We can
We
do
can
it.
do
We'll
it.
just
We have
put
to
it
do
up on
it.
the
It has
line.
to be done.
Yep.
Like how you're doing is how we used to do it.
Yep.
You can't do it like that anymore.
But we can still do it now.
You can still do it now.
We just, Cal, just bring it up. Yep.
And you've got two pathways, Councillor Flynn. It's prescribed, which is probably not. It's a declarable, and as a declarable, because we haven't done the training yet, the declarable is you either decide yourself to leave the room or you put to the room whether we believe you have a conflict and the rest of us vote on whether we believe you should stay in the room or not. That's your pathway.
In reply to your comments, Councillor O'Neill, I believe it would be in the best interest if I left the room.
Yeah, so this is, you'll have to do it like this, Councillor.
You have to,
I can't read that.
No, we'll help you through.
Is someone connected online?
But
would you be able to see it if you have it on your iPad?
Has anyone got their screen on that shows what's on the screen?
I'll do it.
No.
I do.
I do.
13.2. We're looking at report
Oh, he's got
11.5, monthly financial report as at 31st of March. Councillor Peter Flynn, because of my business...
The person of interest is
Myself.
yourself.
yourself.
Yourself,
Say
yes.
myself here,
The
particularly.
particulars of the interest are
Now, what you're going to say.
And
you
because of my business interests which relate to the activities at the Roma Airport, I believe that I do have a conflict of
a
interest.
declarable conflict
Declarable.
of interest.
Terrible conflict of interest.
And you've got two options to, if you have two actions, either you leave or you remain and we vote on it. You've just got to choose which one that is.
I will leave the room while this matter is being discussed.
Thank you. Councillor Flynn has left the room. You're right.
Yeah, so can someone talk me through the depreciation?
Through the chair, the 632,000 is actually the year to date to March. That current budget is still 836,000.
I suppose for me, how is the year-to-date budget different than the current budget? Depreciation for the year is...
Year to date is from July to March, whereas the current is from July to June.
So if you just picked up the depreciation value and divided it by the
Yes.
months and just accrue it a
Yes.
monthly.
So all of the year-to-date budgets is based on what is actually entered into the budgets each month. So
Yeah.
for some business, for some items, sorry, it won't necessarily be just a straight divisible by 12, but for other items it will be.
Yeah, I get that on other expenses. I just thought depreciation just would be solid.
It is, but this year's a year-to-date to March, so it's only the 9 months, not the 12 months.
Yeah, we split it out. You'll notice that in the month actual and month budget, it's about $75,000. So
Sorry, I'm lost. What's the year-to-date budget? What date, what's the?
So because this reports to the 31st of March, it's up to 9 months. So
And
the
the
year-to-date
year-to-date?
budget is showing the budget for 9 months of the year.
Yeah, and so what's the actual?
And the actual is for 9 months of the year as well. The current budget is for the full 12 months.
And then how have we got a difference on
So why is
just on
there a difference?
depreciation? Sorry, you go.
Sorry. Well, I'm just, like, if the year-to-date budget is the 9 months and the year-to-date actual is the 9 months, why aren't they the same figure?
Because in this case, there's been an over budget.
There's been what?
We've over budgeted for depreciation because at the present, because there's still some capital projects to be capitalised, which will come on once they're capitalised through the financial processes, the depreciation will then come in.
Okay, I still don't get it.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
don't either.
I'm just, this year-to-date budget figure says 657,864. That's the depreciation for the airport. And then the year-to-date actual, which you were saying is the same.
I'm
time.
sorry, I was looking at the incorrect line. So sorry for that one. It's slightly over budget. So at the moment.
For me, it's how on depreciation.
Oh, yeah, on depreciation, how?
Yeah.
Because, as I said before, it depends on when capitalisations are received throughout the year as to when they're capitalised. And when we budget for depreciation, we use the information that's available at the time. So when we, as part of the financial process, we do revaluations of our assets. So the revaluations of the assets are at the 30th of June of every year. At the time of preparing the budgets, the revaluation documents aren't available. So we add an indexation onto the current year depending on what the inflation or the CPI is at that time and also what's in our WIP. And we estimate what it's going to be for the year. And then at the quarterly reviews, then that's when we can look at it again if there's any disparity.
Right.
we can only make our judgment around the depreciation during the budgeting cycle. So we make it now for next year, but there might be some differences between what we use now based on that information that we have.
Yeah, okay.
We try our best. You'll notice it across the board. For example, even the gas, just looking the next one down, there's slight differences there.
Yeah.
I suppose it would, from our perspective, it would be fantastic if we could get it 100% right, but sometimes it's just not possible because of those couple of circumstances around revaluations and also capitalisation of new assets.
Yeah, okay. Still doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay. I can go with that. I just, if it's the same period, I just can't see why there can't be the same price. Like, it can't be the same figure, but anyway, it is what it is. Okay. Did we have a seconder? We did. Does anyone else want to speak on questions?
Yeah, sorry, just any more questions on the airport, or we'll get Councillor Flynn back, because...
Well, now he's declared an interest on the
On the
item.
whole matter?
Yeah. So
Okay, better off just let, yep.
I think we'll
voted on.
we'll nut this out. Well,
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
8th, it'll be
Yeah.
a lot clearer what to do. Yeah.
Understood.
All right. So everyone happy? Not everyone doesn't want to speak. Do you want to say anything, Councillor Burkett?
No, I'm all good, thanks.
Okay. Well, we're going to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Moving on.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. 13.1, Waroo Sporting Complex, additional water storage. Councillor Hancock.
Happy to move, but I've got some questions, Mayor. First of all, thank you, Director Matt, for getting this report together and getting it back to us so quickly. Background information, councillors, this has been a long-winded thing, but it sort of, I don't know if you've heard about it out in Surat when we were doing the elections, but yeah, it got to a point where they were up there and they turned on the tap, no water. And so it sort of has emerged. And with the festival coming up, we need to work on this. But my couple of questions is, I just want to clarify, in the report you say that there is 80,000 litres of raw water storage on site currently, and there is also 80,000 litres of raw water storage at the Roo Works in town. You're meaning the stock, it's on stock root ground. It's actually not at a private business.
So just to clarify, through the chair, Councillor Hancock, so there's 80,000 at the Roo Works.
But it's not actually in the private business Roo Works, it's actually the tanks on the stock route.
Correct.
Situated next to the Roo Works.
Just the location.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure that
It is council.
it's actually
Yes,
council
yes,
facilities,
sorry
it's
about
not a
that.
private business
Yeah,
facility.
term of phrase.
Yeah. And that's great. Couple of things. Director Matt, do we need an additional pump when we already have a line that goes up there that pumps water? And I'm not by no means an expert in water, but we already get potable water up to the Roo Sporting Complex. So where does the additional pump go? We're not running another line, are we?
No, through the chair, Councillor Hancock, good question. So just talking to the Water Series Gas Manager, if we, put extra capacity into the potable system at the top of the grounds there, we might have to replace the existing pump that's there for the house and for the, in terms of the age of it, or...
So it's the pump up there, it's not the pump pumping up to there?
Correct.
Okay.
That's a very good pump, a Davy pump that's already been put in down at the, down at the bottom, I suppose, or the Roo Works. So that's already good to go. And a good asset life. It's just the new one for the distribution network up.
Okay, that makes perfect sense to me now. My next question is just a little bit confused. So we're looking to include the $50,000. Probably need a GL number, CEO. I note that in the budget it says capital works budget, but we normally pop a GL number in there. But then the next one says, consider a new capital works project to be included in the 24-25 budget, but yet we're taking the 50,000 out of the 23-24 budget, so therefore the project's already going to be done in 23-24 because it says project deadline's the 30th of June, but why would we then put a project into our 24-25 budget?
Yeah, through the chair, I apologise. That's just going through the capital works thing, and we actually thought we could actually deliver that in 23-24, so we'll have to amend that report, but it should be delivered in 24-25 as a capital works budget, therefore not requiring a GL, and then we can just consider it, through the capital works deliberation. But if you put a resolution in there, that'll go straight into the new capital works budget.
It's got to include a provision.
Yeah, so we are including a provision, $50,000 to fund that in as a new capital work. We might need to fiddle with this resolution as well and come back. Is that okay? Unless you want to do it off the spot. Receive and note the report.
They're not actually asking for the money today.
Well, we are, because you have to order. Why don't you have to be able to deliver that by the 30th, like August the 14th is the festival, so to be able to deliver it.
I'm seeking council's resolution to include this into the 24-25 capital works budget to be delivered in July before the... Yeah, so I'll have to... I'm backed up with projects at the moment through to 30th of June, but as soon as this one ticks over, I can get into the construction in July and have it delivered by the end of July, hopefully.
But you need our certainty that we're going to go ahead with this project.
Correct.
Because you need to be able to have things on orders and that, but not actually pay for it until the next financial
Correct.
year.
So can I just ask a question? What you're saying in simplistic terms, are the fact that we haven't got the money in the 23-24 budget capital works to do this project now, but we want to include it in the early part of 2024-25 so that the project will be completed.
It's a good question, Councillor Flynn. We actually do have capital works budget now. I think there is a in 23-24. What I'm saying is really I cannot deliver this physically before 30th of June due to the QRA and other projects. So I'm just asking for a resolution to include this in the 24-25.
So-
If we include this now in the 23-24, I would have to deliver it by 30th of June, which I'm pretty confident we can't do.
So
that.
what I'm missing apparently is that is the 24-25 going to be another project?
No,
No.
that's what I was getting to. No, it's
That's
this
what-
project.
yeah.
I have a resolution, Madam Mayor.
I have a question first, if that's all right. So, Director Matt, you're saying that you've already got the money in your 23-24 budget, but you just can't deliver on it. So now you're asking us what, to just defer that money over to 24-25, or you want another 50?
Yeah, look,
You've got me confused.
No, sorry about that. No, I'm simply asking for this to be included in the 24-25 budget.
And what about the money you had in the 23-24 budget?
Yeah, through you, Chair, there's currently no budget in 23-24 for this project.
There's not?
No.
Oh, I thought he said
So-
there was.
I apologise. In order to deliver this project, I'd have to go back to the infrastructure team to ask for more capital works money in the 23-24 budget.
So the project was in 23-24, but not the money?
We're just going to push it all to 23, and that money will just, it doesn't go to this project, it'll go somewhere else.
I think,
What money?
so, my understanding of what Director Gain is saying, that there was probably capital funding available somewhere
Yes.
that could have been diverted to this project in 2023-24. However, he couldn't deliver it even if they gave him the money. So what he's asking us for is a clear line item to delineate the $50,000 available in 2024-25 that he can deliver early to meet the Cobham Code deadline. Is that
Essentially, yes. Thank you, Councillor
Correct.
Brumpton.
okay?
Councillor Hancock.
I'd like to move that Council, 1, receive and note the report and officer's recommendation. 2, I'm going to make 3, 2, Cal, to make it easier on you. I'm going to say that Council number 2 will be include a new capital works project in the 24-25 budget, named Wuri Sporting Complex Water Project, for the funds of, this will work, for the funds of $50,000, excluding GST, to fund additional water tank storage, pumps, earthworks and connections. And then 4 will become 3, update the Surat disaster management plan to include asset improvements to the site. Does that work for you, CEO?
Yeah, that's fine, thank you. Yep. So just so I'm clear, if we move that when we start talking about 24-25 budget, there'll be a line item sitting in there for this particular project. And at an officer level, we understand the urgency of this one. So it'll be, we'll position ourselves, quotes, etc., ready to go. If we bring the budget down on late June, we can get into this project, and so that's how that would play out.
A seconder, Councillor Brumpton. Anyone like to speak?
Yes, thank you.
Could I just, I'd like to speak to this matter because I think there is an urgency to this project. This project has been sitting in limbo since about 2018, and I believe it needs to be done.
Thank you. Councillor Hancock?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to, once again, thank you, Director Matt, for bringing this to the table. I want to thank you for 2 things. Thank you for bringing it to the table to us today, and thank you for telling us that you actually are at capacity with your projects at the moment and the reason why you're wanting to push it to the next. Thank you for your honesty for that. It gives us an idea of the workload that's out there. And I too support this. This has been a long-standing project for the Surat community that has just been bubbling on and on and on. And I would like to think that with this project we can actually end some of our water infrastructure problems that have been long-standing issues up there. I also want to note that part of that will be putting in the automatic float valves down at those other tanks. I have had the chairperson of the user group, Jeff Moore, come to me and talk to me about that. So congratulations for getting that done as well. And hopefully that will assist the user group, but actually the whole community, especially that it is a part of our disaster management. If something happens into Surat, our town could be ending up there, and we need to be able to assure that we've got the water that can facilitate them. So I think it is a very good project to tick off.
Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Brompton.
Yes, thanks to Director Gain. I heard the community sentiment clearly when we went to the Surat pre-election community discussion, and I think it'll be great for the community to see this finished. And I think obviously Cobb and Co would have been terrible not to have this resolved prior to the Cobb and Co festival, because that will be a real pinch point for the community then. So great to see it progressing.
Anybody else like to speak?
Yes, Chair, I'd like to.
Yep, go ahead.
Thanks, Director Matt, for getting this project underway. I can totally understand how the workload of all the recent rain events. So I applaud you for getting this to the table. Once again, it just shows having a local director in each area, the finger on the pulse, and getting these to fruition. So congratulations, Director Matt.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Council.
13.2, Community Grant Applications Round 2 of the 2023-24.
I'd like to declare a conflict of interest.
Okay, yeah. When you're ready.
Item 13.2, Community Grant Applications Round 2, 23-24. Declaring councillor is myself, Brendan Searwright. Speakers of interest, I am the president of the Wombilla Show Society, and the group has put forward an application under the funding round. It's a prescribed conflict of interest, so I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'd also like to draw attention that I also have a conflict. Sorry, Kelly, I didn't get it to you.
That's all right.
I was part of the grants assessment committee, but I did remove myself for several of the grants. So if I can just get you to scroll back up to the top for me, Kel, and I'll read it out.
I think Councillor Searide, Brennan, just stay in the room until all of the conflicts are done, and then
The item is 13.2, Community Grants Application Round 2, 2023-24. The declaring councillor is myself, Amber Davis. The person with the interest is our business is booked for some of the events that have applied for funding. My children also attend the other group that has applied for funding. It is a perceived conflict of interest and
Declarable.
Is it? Sorry.
So, because do you want some help here, Councillor Davis? Just with the persons with the interested party, you've got to be more specific.
Okay.
You have to name them.
So our business will be
Bessie's Ice Cream.
Bessie Ice Cream will be operating at.
Yep. Thank you.
Whatever I can't remember,
We'll be operating at the Cobb and Co Surat Mini Show, as well as Cobb and Co Surat Festival events in Surat.
Festival don't have any money. The festival doesn't have any money, but the Yorba Development Group.
Okay. Well, the Yulabut, event in.
It's still the Cobb and Co Festival.
Yeah. We'll just put Cobb and Co Festival events.
Okay, thank you.
And then the second one would be, and my children.
Need to name them?
You don't need to name your
But I-
children, but you'd need to name the,
Yeah. My children take dance at Soul Dance and Step into Dance is a subcommittee of Soul Dance. And just SOL, Kel, thanks.
yeah, so it'll be persons with interest is Bessie's Ice Cream and my children. And then the particulars of the, yeah, Kel's got. And my daughters attend Soul Dance, which is a related party to Step into Dance.
Thank you.
I've got one too, I've realised, potentially.
We're used to this.
Yeah, trust me, it's not a big deal.
Councillor Burkett,
getting it out.
can you see one there for you as well?
Through you, Chair, just before we move on, Councillor Davis, so there was a declarable conflict of interest. Was your intent to?
I'll just leave the room. Thank you.
You have two choices.
Just while you're thinking of yours, Councillor Brumwood, Councillor Burkett, did you see any there for you?
No, I'm good, thanks.
You can see that the Mitchell and District Garden Group are there.
Yeah, but I don't think it's there's any executives on that. I don't think it's a what do you call it? I don't think they have president, treasurers, and all that. I don't think.
Just in the,
I think it's just.
We can get you the application because the application's not in here, but a close associate, being your sibling, was referenced in the application as.
Oh, well, I didn't see any of that.
As president of the Mitchell District Garden Group.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't know they were that into it that much, but I can declare them.
Yeah, well, how
I've
would
already
you
left
know
the
that,
game.
hey?
We wouldn't know that, but,
No.
but others will know that the president of the Mitchell and District
Yeah, but I'm
Garden.
just saying, that's pretty rough when he would have no idea.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm raising.
Yeah, I know why
Yeah,
you're raising
yeah,
it, thank you, but I'm just saying, it's hard when you have,
Yeah.
don't even know any of that. Councillor Brumpton, you're gonna go?
Yes, I'm declaring councillor. The person with the interest is my employer, West Wind Energy.
I don't know.
And the particular of the interest is, it's a long draw, but I think it's best that I note it. I see that Sculptures Outback is applying for a community grant and West Wind Energy is providing sponsorship to Sculptures Outback in 2024, I understand. West Wind Energy is actually giving them a grant, Sculptures Outback, not applying for, they're actually providing sponsorship or a grant, yeah. So the type of conflict I believe is declarable. I think although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I'll choose to remain in a meeting. How I'll respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
So, Councillor Hancock?
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Brumpton participates and votes on agenda item 13.2 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Seconder?
Just, yep.
Councillor Vincent?
Just before we vote on this, you just need to make sure that the councillors are aware of, obviously we've got declaring councillors, just so that's obviously a new step for everyone, so.
So only the councillors that aren't conflicted can vote
Yeah.
on this, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's a question I have, and I think Cameron's just answered it, but the councillors who have already declared a conflict of interest, are they allowed or not allowed
They
to
stay in
vote?
the room, they stay in the room, but they can't vote.
Can't vote on the
on
On councillor.
other
And
on councillors that have a conflict on the same matter they have a conflict on.
And even if you're still to come, if Councillor Burkett decides to do one, he can't, like if he thinks he has one, he can't vote. And that's why it's that new step now that when you do think you've had a conflict, like to let the mayor know that there's more than one lining up.
And I should, just before we get to that point, Councillor Burkett, do you want us to get you the application so you can have a look at it?
No, I'll declare. I just actually texted my sister, and she didn't know they were putting one in. So the secretary's obviously put one in. But I'm happy to declare. That's fine.
Okay, we'll just, you can't vote then?
No, he can't.
Yeah.
That's
No,
why
I can't vote.
Yeah, so just hang on, we'll just vote on councillor Brumpton. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yep.
5-0. Okay, there's no one else in the room, was there? No. Councillor Burkett, do you want to do your declaration?
Better turn the mic on, sorry. Item 13.2, Community Grants Application Round 2, 2023-2024. Declaring Councillor John Burkett, person with interest, related party to myself. Particulars of the interest is my sister is the president of the Maranoa Garden Group, and they were one of the successful applicants of this grant. Oh, well, in names are listed in this grant applications. It's a declarable conflict of interest, and the action I'll take, I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Okay, so all those that are leaving the room can leave the room, please.
Do you want us to text you, Councillor Burkett, to come back on?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Seawright, Councillor Davis and Councillor Burkett have left the room. Okay, do we have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 endorse the recommendations of the assessment panel and approve the following grant applications for payment. Queensland Blue Light Association Incorporated, Surat Branch. I won't read out the project, but to the value of $1,266.50. The Dunkeld Pony Club Incorporated for $1,100. The Mitchell and District Garden Club for $1,449. Mungalala Progress and Sporting Association Incorporated, $3,000. Maranoa Wildlife Caring and Education Centre, $2,357. Surat State School Parents and Citizens Association, $1,600. Yorbar Development Group Incorporated, $3,000. Wallumbilla Camp Draft Committee, $1,982.80. That's for the small grants to a total of $15,755.30. The community grants, Saloon Car Club of Roma and District Incorporated, $4,500. The Wallumbilla Agricultural and Pastoral Association Incorporated, $8,871. Sculptures Outback for $8,250. Multicap Limited for $3,400. The Maranoa Archers Association, $6,974.60. Surat and District Development Association Incorporated, Let's Dance, to the value of $7,440, and Step Into Dance for $4,500, a total of $43,935.60. And the major grant, Surat Diggers Race Club Incorporated, to the value of $10,000. That's an overall total of $69,690.90.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Vincent, would like to speak?
I will, thank you. Madam Mayor, this was a really good round of applications. Really impressed by the standard. It was slightly undersubscribed overall, so we were able to fund nearly everything. There was one application that didn't meet the guidelines, but there's some wonderful projects here that I know the community will be ecstatic to find a recommendation coming through council to fund. Thank you to Cenex once again for their support of the small grants. It has been a number of years now, more than the last term. I think it's 5 years now, 6 years that Cenex have been partnering with Maranoa Regional Council to deliver small grants, and I know they get a great return for that community investment for the things that are going to be funded. And so I look forward to, as a council, working in with these organisations right across the region to see their projects come to fruition, and whatever role council can play in those events, we should take it up, because there's some wonderful things that are going to happen across the region, and I hope all councillors support the recommendation today. I should also add, Madam Mayor, that Councillor Davis, as she's left the room given a conflict, she was very quick to highlight those conflicts when we were going through the assessment process, and follow the appropriate governance not to be in the room when we were discussing those. Through the chair to the CEO, Cam, if you can pass on to the staff the thanks from the assessment panel. They did a wonderful job in coordinating this process, and they're very professional in the approach that they take, and we should thank them for that as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Vincent?
Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate these groups for taking the time to submit their projects for funding assistance. The applications are as diverse as the people that are going to benefit from them, and I really look forward to seeing the events and the projects come to fruition.
Very good. Councillor Hancock?
Yeah, I'd too like to just congratulate these community groups, because, I think our grant round, it's about having some skin in the game themselves. So they have got a sum of money, and they're investing that money. They're going to, council's matching it and putting it back into the community. So whilst we're handing over, $69,690.90, a lot of that is, other than the major grants, that's 50% of funding from organisations. So that amount of money is already sitting in our community, and council's partnering with them to get these outcomes. And I just think it's a win-win situation for the community. And I would encourage more community groups to apply for our community grants. The applications are not hard, and we have local development officers in each area that are more than happy to assist with these grants. And I would encourage our community to reach out and be involved.
Very good. Anybody else? I'd like to just say all of that as well. And CEO, you can tell the staff they do a marvellous job. I've been on the rounds twice now, the last term, and yeah, those girls do a marvellous job as far as organising it and getting us sorted and everything, and it's just a wonderful thing. So yeah, I congratulate everybody, and it's money well spent, of course. Would you like to sum up?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I too was going to make the suggestion to any of the community groups that have a project out there that they'd like partnership from council to apply. I think the geographical spread of this round, it's not by design from council, it's the applications that come in. We're just missing a little bit to the north. It would be great to see some more coming from the Injune area, but there's a really good spread, and the investment is going into a lot of our smaller communities, which I just think is wonderful. I strongly encourage the other councillors to put your hand up when these assessment panels come around again. It's really good to have a returning councillor with a new councillor to feel the room, and I hope I was able to provide that support for Councillor Davis. And so the next one, whether it's Councillor Burkett or Councillor Hancock or the Mayor, with another of the new councillor, I think that would be really good to be involved in. We've got one more round, is my understanding, of the APLNG grants, and then that closes that bucket of funds. And so it'll be back to each and every year having 2 rounds of just the community grants. And so, we need to ensure that this is a continual part of our budget, because community groups do put some worthy projects forward, and we can see that from the list today.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 6-0. If we could just get back Councillor Burkett.
Someone texting John.
Oh, yeah, that was my job, wasn't it? And now I've moved off his phone number.
You had one job.
One job. Had it all sitting here too.
Hey Kate, how you going?
You going, Kate?
Hey, thank you.
We're just waiting for Councillor Burkett's in the air. Does everybody know Kate?
You're on.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Kate, I'm the acting planning manager.
She's got the good job.
Yeah, we'll see.
Councillor Burkett, are you there?
Maybe you text her in case I've got it's a new phone, so it's doing funny things sometimes.
He's coming back, I think, if he's not already there.
Can you tell? You can't tell on that. Can you
Yeah, I
see?
can on there, though.
Oh, you can
Yeah,
see?
yeah, it's just not in there yet, but
We'll get him back and then you're going to break.
Somebody's watching you.
he's on there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, back.
Thank you. So we've got 14.1, material change of use dwelling house domestic outbuilding, file reference 2024/21027. We have some questions? Yep.
Yeah. Through the Mayor, Kate, is this time critical today?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. We can talk to the applicant and get an extension. I don't think they're going to object to that. But from a development assessment perspective, yes.
Because I, having read it, and they weren't home when I went past, but I went out and looked. Is there, you'll see in your report, there are other options on site. I actually wouldn't mind deferring this for a fortnight and getting Tanya in to have a chat, or the applicant in, whether it's Tanya or Trevor, to come in and have a yarn to us about the whole project. And I mean, it's very thorough and I get it. And I can see the recommendation, but how you got to that point. I just want to have a chat with them first. So that's what I'm asking, is it time critical?
Well, we can get onto them, and I don't think it's a risk in terms of the last matter we had, that we were a bit concerned about the deemed approval risk. I don't think that's a risk in this application. So I'm happy to just contact them and say it went today, but the councillors would like to talk to you before they make a decision, and we can do that.
Are you
That's not an
looking
issue.
for us to all go and have a look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can get, either, both.
We could meet them there and have a look.
Yeah.
And go through the alternatives as well.
Yeah,
or
and hear from
whatever
them.
and hear from them.
It might be good to get this coming back via briefing to understand what alternatives are. So when we go to have a yarn to Trevor and Tanya, that
Yeah.
I don't know what others think, but I'd prefer to have a yarn to them.
I think.
I agree. Long as it's on a designated day, not a special trip down to look at it. But I had some questions on this as well, because numerous other towns have carports that go all the way out to the boundary fence. Like that's in a lot of different towns. So I just wanted to get my head around that. Is that just our local law for that? Also, I think if there's other places for a driveway, that's another crossover plus another expense for them to put a concrete driveway. So there is a lot that will do a lot of changes. But yeah, I definitely got some questions in regards to it.
I was thinking, Councillor Burkett, on a day that we were already coming together, not adding on.
Yeah.
Another,
and just on that, Trevor works out at Moomba and stuff like that, so you might have to jag it when he's on. He just got home, I think, on the weekend. I saw him at football, so he didn't discuss this. He was just saying that he just got back in from out there.
Tanya would cover it though if the Trevor's away.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Councillor Hancock.
Oh, I would agree with that, considering the letter that's been written to council on page 103 asking for a formal review of the application. So I do think we need to do our due diligence, respecting what the staff has brought to the table. But I do think that this isn't the first chop, this is the second. So it's due diligence for us to be able to do this and have a conversation.
Does everybody agree?
So do we have to move to defer this, or do you need to talk to the applicant first?
I guess you can move to, I'm happy to, if you want to lay it on the table, I can give, the applicant's the builder, but I can give Kevra a call, and I don't think there'll be an issue with the request.
Yeah, Kate, so probably, I just think let's just check, I think that would be probably lay it on the table, councillors, well, just so that we're not going to trigger any time bars or that sort of stuff. It'd be the right process. Let's just check that there are no issues, explain the intent of the extension, and then go
Well, I move we lay this on the table to later in the meeting to get that advice, and then we can determine what we do then. Yep.
Do I have a seconder?
You don't need a
Don't
second.
need a seconder. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0.
No worries.
Thanks,
We'll
Kato.
break for morning tea and be back at 11. Going again. 14.2, Yulbar Memorial Hall Management Return to Council. Hello, love, how are you?
Hello. John with us?
Oh, John, are you there?
Yes.
Can I just ask, is this a normal procedure to come back to council?
Through the chair, I believe so. Yes, it's before their agreement ceased. So just.
So they're going to renew?
No,
they don't want to renew.
They're not in a position
Okay.
to manage the facility.
Okay.
All committees dissolved by the look of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone want to move? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry. I just have a question. Through you. Madam Mayor. Higher as per council's fees and charges. Do we actually have fees and charges set for the Yulbar Memorial Hall at the moment? Because it was ran by a community group, so I wouldn't have thought we'd have the fees and charges in our
Current fees and charges. I will need to check.
Is it just a standard hall hire fee for community halls? Okay.
So
through the chair, it's there's hall categories. I'll need to confirm if the Yulbar Hall is in one of those categories. Apologies.
Maybe we come back.
Through the chair, sorry, it's Director Thea, just supporting Leah. This is in my department. The part of the hire process, even if there are not fees applicable, there would be a hire process that would be captured through this recommendation.
Councillors are probably, we're happy to have a look at seeing whether the fees and charges currently list Yulbar Hall. If they don't, we could come up with a suggestion there as part of this, if we want to just lay this on the table just for us to pull that together and that.
yeah, maybe just to later in the meeting, just to make.
Oh,
just
definitely,
to
yeah.
make sure.
It won't take us long. We'll just get that.
I move we lay this on the table for later in the meeting
Yep. All those in favour?
to get that information.
Yes.
9-0. .3 Licence with the Bureau of Meteorology Flood Warning Equipment. Do I have a mover, Councillor Hancock?
I just got a question,
Yep.
Chair.
Go ahead.
I put a CR in for Christine McLean for Aberglassy. I was just wondering, would there be another round of this, or is there room to put another one in, or to maybe look at another one, because she put one. It was about the depth marker missing.
I have a conflict.
Okay.
Sorry. We're not doing very well today, Cal, are we? I'm so sorry.
Just hold that thought for a minute,
Yeah,
Councillor
no worries.
Burkett.
Sorry, Councillor Burkett.
It is, okay, that's great.
It's actually, it's a prescribed. Person with interest is Surat Post News.
We'll start from the top.
Yeah, sorry. Good idea. Madam Mayor, I'd like to declare a conflict on item 14.3, description licence with Bureau of Meteorology flood warning equipment. Declaring councillor is Councillor Joanne Hancock. Person with interest or related party is Surat Post News. Surat Post News has a contractual arrangement with the Bureau of Meteorology to read the weather. I suppose I need to also put Surat Post News owned by, up the top, relate persons to Surat Post News owned by my husband Graham Hancock and myself. Type of conflict is, well, it's not the matter at hand. So the matter at hand is not about that. So I am going to do a declarable conflict of interest. And the action was, although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in that decision. And just to clarify, the contractual agreement, councillors, is reading the weather, not River Heights. We have nothing to do with River Heights.
Mm-hmm. Councillor Vincent?
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Joanne Hancock participates and votes on agenda item number 14.3 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor O'Neill? All those in favour?
Oh, I can't vote.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
Just make my life so easy. 8-0. Righto, can we move on now then? Does anyone have any questions before we
I just have a spelling.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of one.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
sorry,
right,
yes,
sorry.
Councillor.
Go, sorry.
Yeah, so her concerns are, like, it was a depth marker was missing on the Wallam Creek on the Begunya Road. I put the CR in, but she also requested that we look at a automatic depth gauge because they have a lot of people that potentially can get caught down that road because it does go across in the Begunya Road, joins into the Albany Road, Downs Road, and comes back onto the St George Road. So there is a bit of traffic that can get caught in a situation down there. If the creek is up, they could get stranded. So she was just looking for that, and I put that in the CR. But then I noticed this come up on the agenda. Just wondering if there's room to look at it, or it's already a foregone conclusion, or what the situation is.
Yeah, through the chair, Councillor Burkett. This is a program that's being pushed out by the Bureau of Meteorology. This was the first round of locations they've identified, but there is this is a program over many years that they are rolling out more and more river height gauges and that. So, at the very least, we could at least pass on to the Bureau that this is a particular site that has been raised from one of our residents, and get that on their radar. So.
Oh no, that'll be good. We have to include that in the motion, or you can just do that in house?
I think that's fine. If there's a CR in the system about the topic, we can grab from that.
Too easy. Thank you.
Councillor Hancock?
Happy to move.
Sorry, Councillor, just before, there's just a slight topographic error in the...
Surat.
Yeah, in Surat. I just didn't want it to affect the... yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Just affect the agreement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Council 1, note this report actions item 4 of resolution number OM/12.2023/48 to endorse the licence with the Bureau of Meteorology to install flood warning equipment at 543007 Forest Vale Road Reserve, Mount Moffat Road, Forest Vale, 43099 Springfield Road Reserve, Maranoa River, Springfield Road, Uralla, 43052 Walk-on Road Reserve, Walk-on Road, Walk-on, 44056 Mangalala, 4403 Warrego Highway, Mangalala, 43063 Surat, Lot 124 River Road, Werribee. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to execute the licence.
Can I just ask what those numbers mean, though, like the 43099 and the numbers in front there?
Yeah, so they're just numbers that the Bureau of Meteorology use for their station IDs.
Oh,
so
that's
it's a Bureau of Meteorology number there. So
So we wouldn't really know where they are?
there is a map that I can circulate there.
No,
but,
no, just asking. Yeah, so you do know,
We,
like,
council
yeah.
officers know, where they are. So they're all in council-controlled land, and that's essentially why they're asking council for approval,
they're on
because it's
council
on
land.
council-controlled land.
Okay.
Yep.
Just had a flutter then, because I think there's one on Florida, but that's
I'm
not.
happy to second.
Councillor Brumpton to second. Anyone like to speak? Going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Do we want to go back?
Probably don't have everything to go back to it.
No?
3 items on that.
I do have got everything sorted for open if we want to.
8.1 as well.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, I see.
Yep. If we just want to get through open.
So we're going back to, which one was that?
Page 17.
So page 17, 8.1 was laid on the table regarding after
yeah.
hours access.
Yep.
Have you...
So 8.1, Surat Tennis Court repeal. Did we have a mover to start with or not?
I was
No.
going to move.
Okay.
I just want to change a couple of things. Can I just read that last one, please, Kel? Oh, is that the only one that's changed? Is that all that's changed? Righto. Okay. I'm going to move that Council repeal resolution number GM/02.2019.A2 and replace with 1. Council take over the management of the Surat Tennis Courts and Clubhouse. 2. Allow the community to continue to use the courts free of charge. 3. Lock the courts with key access available to the public. Full stop. And I'm going to go to 5, which will be 4. Yep. And then restrict access to the clubhouse with keys available at the Council Surat Administration Office when required for use. And then 6, which will be 5, will be implement a solution that provides court access out of Council's regular hours of business. Can we move 6 to 5 and then 5 to be the last, please, Kel? Yes, because it's about the clubhouse, not the tennis courts. Yeah, that's why I've moved it.
Yeah, understood.
Are you? Just check with.
Yeah, Councillor Vinter, are you happy with that?
Yep.
Yep. Like to speak?
Yep. Thank you. The reason I just took out the 12-month basis review is because if we need a review before 12 months, we can have that. So let's just trial it. Let's put it out to the community, see how it goes. But if it's not working, then it gives an opportunity to bring it back before the 12 months. So that's why I removed the 12 months. And then at any time, if it's not working for the community, we can still look at adding it to our fees and charges if warranted at any given time. I just didn't feel that needed to be in this motion at this time. And I just wanted to, overall, this is a great recommendation for our community. The tennis courts are getting a lot of use. The community are using it. They're very, very excited about the upgrade. They are looking for and applying for grants themselves, trying to get the fencing updated as well. So there's a lot of hype in our community, and I think that this is just another way that council can protect their asset, which they need to do, but let it still be a community asset available to the community, 7 days a week. So that's why I'm supporting this resolution.
Anybody else like to speak? Going to go to the vote? All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 14.1, right, Cal? 14.1, domestic change of use dwelling house, domestic outbuilding, file reference 2024/21027. Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that we defer the decision on item 14.1 until the next ordinary meeting of council for us to organise at one of our scheduled workshop briefing days a on-site visit with the applicants.
Have a seconder?
Sorry, Cameron, for us to organise prior to that next meeting? Defer the decision until the next ordinary meeting of council, which allows us to organise at one of our briefings prior to that.
Yeah.
Before that meeting, yeah. Anyone seconding?
I'll second it with those.
Councillor Brompton?
The further decision to the next council meeting to organise prior to that meeting an on-site visit.
Could we put, instead of being so specific about the next ordinary meeting, until a future? Because what if we can't?
Defer the decision to an upcoming ordinary meeting of council to allow us prior to that meeting to organise an on-site visit.
Through Chair, in reality, next meeting that was adopted earlier today is the 7th of May, and we don't have a briefing until the 8th, so I think that'll help with that. Thank you.
All right, anyone
I'm
else?
happy with that change of
You're
wording.
right, all good? Anyone like to speak? All good? Going to the vote, all those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 14.2. Gilbar Memorial Hall Management return to council.
So through the Chair, just had a quick look where with Leah, our fees and charges does specifically reference Gilbar Memorial Hall, so it does cover that, and that there's a bit of a what they call different types of halls and category 1, category 2, and that. So it's listed both in category 1 and 2 for the separate for the supper room. The original recommendation, dot point number 4, talked about allocating capital works. I talked to the officer earlier before and suggested that we look at an amendment to that as presented, dot point number 4 on the screen. So we need to undertake a structural and a reasonably urgent structural inspection of that floor, particularly in part of the hall where the floor is moving. rather than try and preempt and that, what I'm sort of flagging is let's get the structural inspection done, and if there is anything that urgently needs to be brought to council to say we need to do some strengthening of that in advance of the Cobb and Co, we can get that in here fairly quickly and just get that considered. Otherwise, we're merely speculating on what needs to be done, if anything, and how much. So I just think this is probably the right process there. So.
Okay, do I have a mover? I didn't have a mover before, did I? Councillor Seawright.
I move that the council, 1, take over the management of the Yulbar Memorial Hall. 2, hire as per council fees and charges. 3, complete a structural inspection and submit a report on the findings back to council ahead of the Cobb and Co 100-year festival in August 2024. 4, be presented with an urgent officer's report should the structural inspection identify any urgent repairs in advance of the Cobb and Co festival.
I have a seconder. Councillor Davis. Anyone like to speak? Going to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Someone like to move into closed? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that. Oh no, we've got conflicts first, Matt.
Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll go with conflicts. We've got Councillor Brumpton.
Okay, item C1, I'd like to declare a conflict. The description is the 2023-24 Q3 budget review. Declaring councillor is myself. The person with the interest or related party is my employer, West Wet Plumbing. Particular of interest with regard to discussion re the Community Arts Complex roof leaks. I perform casual administrative work for West Wet Plumbing, who I understand have performed repairs on the roof leaks from time to time. Type of conflict is a declarable conflict of interest. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Anyone like to move something? Councillor Seawright.
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Brumpton participates and votes on agenda item C1 because of a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in public interest.
Someone second that? Councillor Davis. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Another conflict?
I'll have another conflict. With the same item, C1, 2023-24 Q3 budget review. Declaring councillor is myself, Councillor Brumpton. Person with the interest is my daughter, Erin Brumpton. With regard to discussion re the art gallery air conditioner, my daughter Erin works at the library, which is in the same complex. However, I understand there's a different air conditioning system in the gallery and walk of art. Type of conflict, declarable conflict of interest. Action, although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Brumpton participates and votes on agenda item C1 because a reasonable person will trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Someone second? Councillor Seawright. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Is that all, Cal? Yep.
I'll move, but I just want to make a statement in relation to LC3, which is agenda item recruitment of Chief Executive Officer, which is the same title for a report that I declared a declarable conflict of interest on in the previous meeting, being item C2. That matter that I referred to at the last meeting has now closed, and so I'd like that recorded in the minutes, please.
Thank you.
So I'm happy to move in accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. The Council resolved to close the meeting to the public to discuss confidential items that its councillors consider as necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides some matters to be discussed and an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. C1 is the 2023-24 Q3 budget review. C2 is sale of land for overdue rates and charges, public auction. LC1 is Play Our Way program grant opportunity. LC2 is Environmental Protection Order PPR 0040507513, and LC3 Recruitment of Chief Executive Officer.
He did correct himself.
Did I correct it? EPPR 00407513, and LC3 Recruitment of Chief Executive Officer.
Okay, we're going to,
Seconder.
oh, seconder, sorry. Councillor Brompton, all those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. So I'd like to resume the meeting, and Councillor Burkett had to go at 2:45. If everyone could just note that he's not online. Okay, C1 2023-24 Quarter 3 Budget Review. Do I have a mover?
I can do that.
Councillor Brompton.
I move that Council 1 adopt the Quarter 3 2023-24 revised budget as presented. 2, adopt the revised financial statements for 2023-24 budget amendments as shown in the report's attachments, named revised budget financial statements 2023-24 and following 2 years, revised budget financial statements 2023-24 and following 9 years, revised financial sustainability ratios 2023-2024, total value of change in rates and charges, and that the documents be placed on the council's website, http://www.maranoa.qld.gov.au/council/budgets. 3, be presented a report at an upcoming meeting which investigate potential options for funding $25,000 for beautification works in the towns of Surat and Yulbar in preparation for the upcoming Cobb and Co Festival in August 2024. Confirm Council's financial and in-kind support to date for the 2024 Cobb and Co Festival. And 4, consult with Roma and Bungle Gallery Committee to agree on an appropriate replacement air conditioning system. Can I add air conditioning system there? And commit funds of up to $140,000 for replacement of the air conditioning unit at the Roma and Bungle Gallery in the 2023-24 budget, drawn from Work Order 24509, an amount of $12,300. Work Order 24554, Bassett Park, unallocated, uncommitted, $105,000. Work Order 24748, Bassett Park electrical budget allocation, $65,000.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vincent. Sorry, Kel.
This is extra 140,000. Did you want to say as amended or as presented?
Oh, yeah.
Noting the amendments at point 4.
Adopt the,
As presented with the...
Including the
Including the
amendments noted at
amendments.
point 4 below. Can we say it like that? Point 4 of this motion.
And I seconded it, Cal.
Is that all right, Kel?
Councillor Vincent seconded it. Yep.
You happy with that wording? Yeah.
Councillor Brompton, do you want to speak to the motion?
I'd just like to thank the officers for spending some time with us to understand some of the reporting that we haven't been involved in the past, and I think we'll develop further as we get a better understanding of where we're at, and certainly through the next budget process. But I'd like to thank them for giving us the time to present those reports so we can understand our current position at this stage. Also like to thank the Roma and Bungle Committee for writing to us and for the officers' quick response into looking at some options to sort emerging problem that has occurred there.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Could we just, Cal, would you mind scrolling down for a minute, please? Oh, sorry, and up a little bit.
Where do you want to go?
Well, we'll just. That's right. I was just contemplating, we did talk about taking that figure out and just letting a figure come back to us. But happy because that can still happen with the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to speak? Can I go the vote? All those in favour? 8-0. C2, sale of land for overdue rates and charges, public auction.
Did we get an email?
Yep.
Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 receive and note the progress of resumption of rate sale of land proceedings. 2, endorse column B as the reserve price set for each property disclosed on the auction listing as circulated by the Chief Executive Officer during the meeting in an email at 3:02 p.m.
Have a seconder? Councillor Vincent, like to speak?
No.
Anyone like to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Moving on to the late. LC1, Play Our Way Program Grant Opportunity. Do I have a mover? Councillor Seawright.
I'd like to move that we apply for funding under the Australian Government Play Our Way program, Stream 1 Facilities. Project 1, renew lighting at the Surat Tennis Courts. 2, include the proposed co-contributions in the 2024-25 budget if successful. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign funding agreement and any other necessary documentation if successful.
Have a seconder? Councillor Brompton. Like to speak, Councillor Seawright?
I think it would be a very worthwhile benefit shovel-ready project for the Surat Tennis Courts. Whilst there was other projects mentioned, it was the most, with the short time frame, it was the best option we had at our fingertips, ready to not miss out on an opportunity that can benefit one of our communities.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Brompton.
I'd like to thank the officers for at short notice trying to ascertain suitable projects. We've recognised that we didn't have time to consult very much across communities, but this program's going to be going for a number of years, so we'll be able to be ready for future funding rounds with having the full consultation and full appropriate approvals and looking at where our biggest bang for buck will be for our communities.
Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Hancock.
Yeah, I too support this application for the Play Our Way program. I agree with what the other councillors have said. It was really short notice and this project is shovel ready, but there is also merit to this project where council has invested quite a significant amount into the Surat Tennis Courts to get it up and to get it ready so that it can be utilised back in our community. The community has been without it for quite a long time. The community has got together. They are forming a group and they are actually putting some money towards trying to apply for funding themselves to do fencing. And so if this was successful with the lighting and if they're successful with the fencing, the upgrade of the courts already done, this will complete that whole project for the community and we can tick this one off the list. And I too would look forward to supporting other programs across the region for this funding over the next 3 years that it's going to be running for.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. LC2, Environmental Protection Order, EPPR 00407513. Councillor Vincent.
I'd like to move that council receive and note the officer's report as presented. Number 2, be presented with a monthly information report and update on the activities undertaken in response to Environmental Protection Order EPPR 407513.
Have a seconder? Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor Vincent? Anyone like to speak? Can I go to the vote? All those in favour? 8-0. LC3, Recruitment of Chief Executive Officer. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 receive this report by way of update to Council Resolution OM/04202423. 2, appoint Peak Services Recruitment to support council in the recruitment of the Chief Executive Officer, with funds to be drawn from recruitment and onboarding general ledger 21642152.
Have a seconder? Councillor Davis. Anyone, would you like to speak? Councillor O'Neill?
Only to say that this is the start of the process of which all of council will be involved in the recruitment of the CEO and engaging Peak Services recruitment, who are positioned incredibly well in the local government sector to help support us in this process. I think is the right step forward, and they will have us on the right track in ensuring we're getting the best possible candidate to lead our organisation going forward.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak? I'd just like to say that I too am glad that the whole council will be engaged in this operation, because it's the whole council that has to also work and feel comfortable with the CEO. So really happy that we've decided that the full council will be going on this journey for the next CEO. So all those in favour? 8-0. That's all we've got today. Thank you all.
We done, Cal?
And
That's everything, yeah.
yep, I'll close the meeting at 3:28.
Good
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.